All right, Coach, let me ask you this. What has gone so very, very wrong for the Raiders? I actually wrote very twice because things have gone pretty bad for the Raiders this season.
Well, there's a lot of areas that you can look at where there's problems, and one of the problems is the defense. They've tried to address it with a draft pick, whether it's in the secondary, the corner, or the safety. Haven't really been able to get that fixed, and then you move on from Khalil Mack, which when you have a pass rusher, it can help minimize some of those deficiencies that you have in the secondary. And then offensively, with my kids' school, whenever something goes wrong, they tell the kids they need to be a self-advocate. They need to speak out for themselves. And it strikes me that Derek Carr is such a nice guy that when things game plan wise that maybe he doesn't love, I don't know if he's self-advocating. I think he might just be taking
talking about during the week.
Well, yeah, that process needs to be a collaborative process between the head coach and the quarterback. And when you get to Friday, you've got to have that plan in place that he feels really good about. And look, Derek, a few years ago, was on pace to be an MVP, and he did a great job of protecting the football. He's already got more interceptions this year than he had, from his big season a few years ago. And getting to the point where that relationship between what Jon wants to do, what Derek wants to do, what they both need to do, that seems like it's not there yet. Add in the offensive line problems. He gets sacked 6 times yesterday. They had a highly paid offensive line. Both guards are still second and third on the team in terms of salary cap, but they've got rookie tackles. It's figuring out what's the identity of this group and what direction are they heading, and clearly articulating this is how we plan to get there.
Listen, they're one of the worst 5 offenses in football. They're one of the worst 5 defenses in football, and the special teams ain't great. So that's a recipe to be disastrous. But before I get into Derek Carr or Gruden, I want to ask both of you guys a question. Is there anything to be said for what trading your best player right before the season does to the spirit of the other 52 guys on the team at the time? As far as whether or not that tells those guys, this is, even if it's subconsciously, this isn't a year we're actually competing for a championship. And is that anything to do with a team that, while might not be the most talented team in the league, is clearly underachieving based on the talent level that they have?
They have too many guys that have played in the league that just have personal pride in what they do. So to say that, now we should talk about Khalil Mack, but to use it as an excuse for people not doing their job, no. Okay. I don't do that. It's professional football. This is not college. All right, this is not, let's go get one for the old team. No, you're being paid a lot of money to do a job. And when you're studying tape, getting ready for the opposition, when I'm getting ready for Seattle, no matter what my position is in, I'm not thinking about Khalil Mack. I'm not thinking, did the coach do the right thing? No, I'm trying to think about what can I do to get an advantage? What technique do I need? What are their tendencies so I can do my job? Now, we can keep making excuses, but, man, Khalil Mack is gone, and he is not coming back. But I'm going to tell you what you are stuck with. You stuck with that head coach. And to me, they don't have a lot of guys that look like they love playing football. Amari Cooper, he's a kid I know really, really well. And I heard just recently this week that Oakland potentially might give up on him, and he's available to be traded. I'm just telling you, Amari Cooper can play for my team. He is a great guy, man. He's the kind of guy that you would introduce to your partner's daughter. Like, he is a gentleman, and to see him not play with any type of enthusiasm, like, I've been knowing the kid a long, long time. It looks like the joy of football has been sapped from him. And I don't know the reason why, but I have known the kid for a long, long time. And he comes from the tough streets of Miami Northwestern High School, went to Alabama where it was not easy. I never saw the look on Amari Cooper's face the way I've seen him the first part of this season and what I saw yesterday there in London.
And we moved on to New England from Lawyer Malloy right before the start of the season. He went to Buffalo. We played Buffalo the first game.
31-0.
Yeah, they beat up on us. But after that, we moved past it. And Chris makes a great point. Guys can get hurt at any point. You can lose a player, and you can sit there and say, okay, well, this is the reason we're not successful. Or as a pro, you move on, and you go and try to figure out what the next answer is. Do I think the environment's tough when you bring in a new head coach, when you bring in a head coach that has a radically different philosophy, when you bring in that type of, there's been a volume of changes in terms of personnel, in terms of scheme, all those things, and then you're losing on top of it? with giant expectations when he got hired. So you combine those things, and emotionally, it can be difficult for the team.
Before Gruden got back into coaching, what was the one but about his coaching resume? Yeah, he won that Super Bowl, but it was none of those were his players. That was all. He was taking over. And the question that I have, and I think it's a fair question, is whether or not, even if they didn't want to be 1-5, this is part of Gruden's plan. If the plan was always 2020, in Vegas, new team, new stadium, if the plan was to tear down everything they had with Reggie McKenzie, if the plan was, I said it, we couldn't figure out the Khalil Mack trade until it started to make sense where, you know what, Gruden doesn't think Derek Carr is his quarterback. Gruden thinks I'm going to need a new quarterback, so I'm going to need extra draft picks, and I have the empowerment of a 10-year contract. So you know what? They are going to have to see this through with me. Because otherwise, what's happening in Oakland is baffling. This team was not supposed to be in the running for the #1 pick of the draft, even after the Khalil Mack trade. But now Amari Cooper's on the trade block. The first-round pick the year after Amari Cooper's on the trade block. Derek Carr, all of a sudden, he's the most turnovers in football, most dinks and dunks of anybody in football. Like
Khalil Mack is gone.
Khalil Mack's gone. They got 2 first. Like, it sure feels to me like they are trying to almost expansion franchise the Raiders before you get to 2020 in Vegas and you get a fresh start and Gruden can say, these are all my guys.
Yeah, I don't believe that's part of Jon Gruden's plan. Any people that know Jon Gruden is not about losing, and especially getting embarrassed. Like, that's his product out there. That's all the brand of the Oakland Raiders, but that's Jon Gruden's product. That's his work out there. So I know Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden is not looking to 2020. Man, 2020 is a lifetime away, and I don't see that. They have made a lot of changes, but to say Jon Gruden is looking forward to 2020 moving to Vegas, no, this is the hand he's been dealt. The Khalil Mack thing, I believe, as a franchise, they were challenged as far as to be able to come up with that money. So they made a decision, we're going to trade him away, take the draft picks, but that was based on not being able to come to a deal with him that they felt in their future cap. It made the best interest of the club, Coach.
And coaches have egos, too, and no coach wants to come in, especially a coach who gets the contract like he got and then take a beat down. There's whether you're a new head coach or in his situation, you're trying to establish legitimacy with the players that you have, the players that are going to be part of your future. You want legitimacy with the owner. You want legitimacy with the fans. You want to be able to say, okay, this isn't where we are, and we're going to be a lot better moving forward, as opposed to saying we're just going to tank it and then, you know, hopefully next year we'll be better.
I guess my question would be, because you and I have talked off the air about what coaches could do if they had real job security. We talked about, I think, in San Francisco with Shanahan and Lynch, both getting 6-year deals linked up together to where you're not worried you're going to be 1 and done or even 2 and done, and the plan it lets you put in place. When you have the security Gruden has, it allows you to take more of a long-term view and say, I can be worried about what is best for the team holistically on a long-term level rather than right now more than most coaches would be able to.
Look, in an ideal situation, every head coach's job is to look forward. And when you make a decision, and that's one of the hard things as an assistant coach, is you're looking at your world. You're looking through your lens. As a head coach, you're looking through all the lenses, and you're trying to put it in place where you can win a championship now and you can win a championship in the future. In terms of job security, I've thought I had job security at different points. I was told no matter what happens, you're going to be the head coach next year and then get fired. So, look, job security, whether you have 6 years or 10 years, you know, it's not as strong as
that contract's a little bit different. We don't know exactly what it says. After 4 years, I think that's where Jon Gruden gets more of the control and the more of the resources start kicking in, I think, after 4 years, too. But no one wants to get their nose bloody.
And you may have financial security, but you may not have job security. There's a very big difference.
Is it Monday night? Is available?
Right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.